Yeah, when I came here this morning, there was one person telling me or asking me, decentralization, Axpo, is this the right conference you're in because you want to own all your assets by yourself? Why do you want to decentralize your assets right now? And I don't think that we want to decentralize all of our assets at the moment. But to be honest, it can be something for the future, or it can be something that is now hovering over into a phase where we kick off some of these ideas. So it's always good to get in touch with you because you have maybe solutions or ideas how to do so. I'm Stefan, I'm the business developer for Axpo, located in Germany, responsible for the business development in the asset business. That means battery storages, that means PV, that means wind. And I want to talk about how to unlock the growth by redefining energy infrastructure ownership. So it's basically all about how to own these assets. First, let me talk about Axpo, give you a few words. Axpo is the largest Swiss producer of renewable energy and also traditional energy. You know the renewables for sure. On the traditional side we say nukes. We mean the nuclear power plants, who are in Switzerland still quite reliable energy supplier. In Germany, as you know, maybe they have been shut down. And then we have the energy trading, international trading activities. That means, on the one hand, the power purchase agreements with different power suppliers or energy suppliers, and then for sure also customers. So upstream, downstream energy PPAs, and also then for sure the optimization of the asset, which can be done nowadays via algorithms. And in my area, that is the development management of these assets. It's basically all about finding right locations, spots, and then developing assets there, and then building them, and at the very end to monetize them. I'm gonna come to that later on. And then we have the fourth pillar here, which is grid operations, and also we have the smart energy solutions. But these last smart energy solutions, let's call it like that, is a small business starting right now. It's not a huge one. For sure, we rely on the very first three ones. So how to own energy infrastructure in the old world? And we are still living a little bit in the old world, but it's shifting. First of all, you need to find a location. As I was mentioning, we have wind, PV, battery storages. We also have hydrogen for sure, which is coming now. But let's keep it to the three bigger ones. Finding a location means you need to have a good spot where you can build a PV, for example, which needs a huge area, or needs to be a huge area. Maybe you have a wind turbine, there's a requirement that there's no housing around. And for battery storage, you can go really tiny and small, but the prices for these land lease have increased by multiples. So we are now, I have some offers for land lease contracts, 10,000 square meters, 1 hectare, it's like 150,000 euros per year. It's massive. So one of the farmers are getting rich right now because they know it, and they're going to pay for these. We're going to pay them for these because everybody is paying, and the battery is still a positive business case. And then we have the grid application. So once you found the right spot, you found the right location, you need to apply for grid on the TSO level, transmission system operator level, or on a DSO level, which is a little bit lower voltage level. Yeah, I'm going to come to that later on where the problem here is. But once you have grid, then you can start investing. That means you invest into the technology. Sometimes you do that via debt capital, or you do it on equity base. So you just put the cash in and then you receive the hardware. For sure, Axpo does not do the operations or the constructions all by itself. We have the right partners, and they're going to build it in a European region. And then on the last pillar, we have the monetization. And that means for sure that you need to optimize your asset via algorithms and then keep the money or try to earn money with the asset. But as we all know, renewables are booming in Europe. So there's a drastic shift. And as you can see here, it will get even worse to the right side from demand perspective. The annual electricity generated in terawatt hours is on the rise, and more there is PV, wind, and also battery being deployed and responsible for that annual electricity demand. And this comes for sure also from EVs, the rise of electric vehicles, and also data centers. Both of these need lots of energy. And also we have the target to be CO2 neutral. That means we need more and more renewables. So this is an impact, and this impact has a direct impact on these 4 pillars. We are now in the new world of owning energy infrastructure. There's a solution which comes on the next slide. Investment has also an impact because new technologies are on the rise. We're talking about lithium battery storages, but if you talk about long duration energy storages, who can, for example, store energy for days or weeks, then we're talking about different cell chemistries or even completely mechanical storage technologies, and then bankability is at threat. So banks are saying, sorry, this is completely fresh, we can't give you here a debt. And then on the last slide, monetization, the margins are declining. Now this is something for the PV business. The PV business in Germany is also at threat. Since the power prices are being so super low, there's no margin left. So nobody wants to invest into PV business or into PV plants any longer. And also wind, let me say, also still okay, but not that positive. Battery still good, which is the good news. So we are shifting now a little bit concerning the ownership, because this is the solution. The solution is that we try to build different types of technologies at one plant. And that could be something like there is already a PV plant, or there's already an owner of a PV plant who's saying, sorry, you can come here with your storage and you can have grid access to my access point, but I want to get a piece of your storage. So we need to give them like 10%, 15%, 50%, sometimes require more, and then we get a piece, they get a piece of our storage, and therefore we get the grid. Is one problem out there. The other one, for example, is that we share substations. There is a wind farm operator who has already built a substation. Axpo now wants to connect to this substation, but now we need to share this substation. So is it like 50-50? Both parties have 50% of the shares. So more and more owners are getting into this system, trying to arrange and trying to also negotiate or align on different targets. Is making it a lot more complicated. As I was mentioning, Axpo was focusing on owning these assets completely by their own, but in the new world, this won't be possible everywhere any longer. So that comes with side effects for sure. We have the fractional ownership problem. I was negotiating one contract with one of the PV plant operators who has already a PV plant. We want to connect to these plant, we want to have the substation access here. And it turned out that he has also several owners behind who want to be involved in our storage. We want to build a storage there. So this is one big problem, fractional ownership. Difficult to handle then, negotiations are complicated, and then you should hit the apply now button. There's a small form behind till Friday, it's open till Friday. We just fill in some data about your company, maybe first ideas. It's rather a first superficial way of getting in touch together. And then in a second phase, we're gonna do a little bit of homework at Axpo, reiterating all the applicants, and then getting in touch with some of these, how to get into a proof of concept phase, which will start, let's say in December, January next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.